everyone, welcome back to Evelyn and Peter. I'm so excited to show you guys what I have for you today. I think you guys are gonna love it. Excuse any background noise for this intro. I have 2 out of my 3 daughters home with me today. Cool, baby, cool. And I got my Charlie hanging out right here on the couch with me, so just trying to get this video done. But here is the pattern. So this is my little beanie design, and it's actually a set with these fingerless mitts. So this particular video is for the fingerless mittens. If you wanted to make the beanie, that video is available as well, and I'll have that linked below for you. Okay, we'll get you a tissue, okay? So here's the fingerless mittens. And I think they're pretty beginner friendly. You don't need to know any sort of increasing or decreasing for this. It's the same stitch throughout, so you just repeat the 2 rows over and over and over again, and then just the trim, and then the cuff on the mittens is the same as the ribbing on the beanie. So it's a fun little set to make. I had so much fun making it. You need a fine weight yarn. Woo, hair's all crazy. You need a fine weight yarn, which is a weight of 2, and I'm just using Line Brand's Merino Camel. It's from their LB collection. I really love this yarn. It's super soft and comes in some really nice colors. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll link to that as well. This whole set is actually available as a Line Brand kit too, so I can link to that in the description below. But I am using the navy color in the tan color, and then you're also going to need just a 4mm crochet hook. And then if you want to add a pom-pom to the hat, you will need a pom-pom maker as well. But I show you how to do all of that in the beanie video. But for this video, it's just going to go over the fingerless mittens. So this is a really fun design, and I liked making it, and I hope you guys like it as well. There's lots of cute color combos you can go with. But yeah, I think it turned out super cute, and I hope you guys like it. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know anything else that you guys want to see from me, any other designs. I've been having so much fun making these YouTube videos and kind of learning as I go on how to do them, so I hope you guys are enjoying them. But yeah, thank you so much for subscribing and all the support, and I hope you guys enjoy the pattern. Okay, so to get started on our fingerless mitts, you will need 2 different colors of yarn. I'm using Line Brand's Merino Camel yarn, which is just a fine weight yarn, and my colors are navy and tan. And then you're also going to need a 4mm crochet hook, and then of course a yarn needle and scissors. So to get started, take your navy color and create a slip knot. So just wrap that yarn over and pull it through, and then insert your hook and pull tight to secure. And to start us off, we will need to chain 16. So just yarn over and pull that yarn through the loop on your hook, and every single yarn over and pull through equals 1 chain. So yarn over, pull through a total of 16 times. So after you've chained 16, we can begin row 1. So in the second chain from the hook, so skip that first chain and insert your hook into the second chain, we will be working slip stitches across. So put your hook into the back bump of the chain below, yarn over, and then just pull through. And do this in every single chain across. So then insert it into the second chain, yarn over, pull through, into the third chain, yarn over, pull through. And just do this all the way across until you reach the end of the chain, and you will have a total of 15 slip stitches. So we're just putting in our hook and then pulling through, making slip stitches all the way across. And when you reach the end of the row, you can chain 1 and turn your work. And now we will begin row 2. So working in that very first slip stitch, we will be putting our hook in the back loop only. So you have the little V's on top that the stitch creates. You will not be putting your hook into that front loop, which is the loop closest to you. You will not be putting it through both loops. You will only be putting your hook through that very back loop, which is the loop furthest away from you. And then yarn over and pull that yarn through both loops, so just making a slip stitch. And then again, in the second stitch, insert your hook into that back loop only, yarn over, and then pull through both loops. And just do this all the way across. You should have a total of 15 slip stitches in the back loop only made. And when you reach the end of the row, just chain 1 and turn your work, and then you're just going to repeat this again. So inserting your hook into the back loop only, yarn over, pull through both loops. So basically we're just slip stitching into the back loop only of each slip stitch across for a total of 15 slip stitches after every row. And you will be doing this for a total of 54 rows. Okay, so I have made a total of 54 rows, and it can be kind of hard to count your rows. Every 2 rows, it creates like a little ridge or bump, and I like to count by 2s to double check and make sure I have the correct amount of rows. And now we'll be joining together. So your starting tail of yarn should be on the right side, and your hook should also be on the right side of your work. And then you're just going to fold the bottom up and lay it together like that. And then we're just going to join the first row and the last row made together to create the cuff of the mitt. So we will be inserting our hook into the first stitch of that first row and into the stitch of that last row, lining them up correctly. So the loop is still on my hook, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch of the first row below, and then insert my hook into the stitch of the current row, and then just yarn over and pull through both rows and pull through the loop on my hook. So we're just slip stitching it together, and then again inserting my hook into the first row of the next stitch and then the next stitch of the current row, and we're putting our hook through both the front and back loop only this time. So you're inserting it into underneath the complete stitch of both rows, and you're just going to do this all the way across. So make sure your stitches are lined up correctly, make sure you're not skipping any because you want it to be aligned correctly, and just do this all the way across for a total of 15 slip stitches. And I will show you guys what to do at the very last stitch. We're going to be dropping our current yarn color and then picking up the tan color. So just do this all the way across, and I'll meet you back at the 15th stitch. Okay, and now I've inserted my hook into the last stitch of both rows, and I haven't completed my slip stitch yet. I've just inserted my hook, and now we're going to bring in our second color and just drape it over our hook, and then just finish off the slip stitch with that new yarn. So just pull it all the way through, finishing your slip stitch, and then you can kind of just tug your yarn down a bit to secure. So you can see that our cuff is now created, and now we are using the tan color as our working yarn. So turn your cuff correct side out. Now our seam is hidden on the inside. So now we'll be working our stitches into the ends of the rows of the ribbing all the way around. So those little ridges that I talked about it creating, we will be inserting our hook in between those for our stitches. So to start off, go ahead and chain 2, and the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And then work your first double crochet into that very same space that we just made our chain 2. So you can see it's in between those two little ridges. So just yarn over, insert your hook into that same space as the chain 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and that is one double crochet made. And then for our next double crochet, you will be inserting it in between the next two ridges, so you can see the little space in between. Work your double crochet, and that is our second double crochet. And then again into the next little space, work a third double crochet, and then again a fourth double crochet, and then 5, and 6, seven, and 8. And now we will be making an increase. So instead of just one stitch in that same area, we will be making 2 stitches into the same area. So we have a total of 8 double crochet. Go ahead and double check. And then in the next little space in between the ridges, work 2 double crochet into that same spot. So 1, and then in that very same spot, I'm going to insert my hook again and work a second double crochet. And then you will just repeat this around. So work 8 more double crochet, each of them into their own little space in between the ridge, and then work an increase. So do 2 double crochet into the same spot, and just repeat this all the way around the cuff. So 8 double crochet and increase, repeating all the way around. And you should be ending the round with an increase, so 2 stitches in the same spot, and then you will need to join your work. So we're going to be joining to the top of the first double crochet made, so skip that chain 2 and then just insert your hook into the top of the first double crochet, And then you can drop your tan yarn, and we will be picking up our navy colored yarn to finish off. So now our working yarn is the navy. Just yarn over and pull through both loops, slip stitching to join, and then you can just kind of give the tan yarn a little tug to make sure it's secure. And that is the end of round 1, and you should have a total of 30 double crochet for that round 1. And now you can chain 1 to start off round 2 and turn your work. Be sure to turn. And that chain 1 counts as our first slip stitch, so just take note that is where we will be inserting our hook at the end of this round to join. So the chain 1 is the slip stitch. Just remember that for the end of the round. So after you've made your chain 1, continue with a 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So because the chain 1 counts, you're going to work your first double crochet into the very following stitch. So yarn over and then insert your hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's 1 double crochet. And then work 1 slip stitch into the following stitch. And then 1 double crochet into the stitch after that, and just continue alternating 1 slip stitch, 1 double crochet, repeating all the way around. And your stitch count will stay the same. You should have a total of 30 stitches at the end of this round. So just repeat this until you get back to the beginning, and then I'll show you how to join and to start off the next round. Okay, and that's the end of round 2. You should be ending on a double crochet stitch. And now we will be picking back up our tan yarn and starting round 3 with the tan yarn. So remember that very first chain that you made, that's where you will be inserting your hook. So insert your hook into that first little chain. So go ahead and drop your blue yarn and just bring it around the front to tuck it away, and then pick up your tan yarn. Insert your hook into that first chain 1, and then just yarn over and pull that tan yarn through both loops on your hook. And then you can just tug down the blue yarn, make sure it's secure. And then to start off round 3, you're going to chain 3, and the chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So from here on out, that chain 3 is our first double crochet, and we will be slip stitching to join into the top of the chain 3 at the end of this round. So for round 3, just work 1 double crochet into each stitch around. So the chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So work a second double crochet into the next stitch and a third into the next. So we're putting our stitches into the top of the double crochet and into the top of the slip stitches from the round below. Make sure you're not skipping any slip stitches. Those can sometimes be harder to see, but your stitch count will stay the same. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 30 double crochet. So just continue working 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around until you reach the beginning. Okay, and that's the end of round 3. So to join, you will just be inserting your hook into that top of the chain 3 that I talked about in the beginning of this round. So go ahead and insert your hook into the top of the chain 3. And then you will be dropping your tan yarn and again picking up your blue yarn. So just drop the tan, pick up the blue, and then yarn over and just pull it through both loops on your hook. Then just give that yarn a little tug. So now you will be starting off round 4 with the blue yarn, and round 4 is the same as before. We are just now repeating rounds 2 and 3 over and over again. So chain 1, which counts as our first slip stitch, and turn your work, and then again you will be working a double crochet in the next, and then 1 slip stitch, 1 double crochet all the way around, just repeating it. So this is round 4, and it's basically just a repeat of round 2. And then after round 4, you will be doing round 5, which is a repeat of round 3. So just repeat rounds 2 and 3 until you have a total of 8 rounds. So right now we are on round 4, so do round 5, 6, 7, and 8, just repeating rounds 2 and 3 like we've been doing. Okay, so that completes round 8, and now we are starting off round 9, and this is the round where we will be creating the thumb hole for our mitts. So you can go ahead and slip stitch to join with the tan yarn, and then go ahead and chain 3, and of course make sure you have turned your work. And so you can see here I've already completed the left mitt, and it creates kind of a small seam down the center. It's not super noticeable, but if you want your mittens to have the seam in the same spot, our left and our right mitt are going to be slightly different, just where we place the thumb hole, and I'll show you guys how to do both. So I've already completed the left, and now I'm going to show you guys how to do both on my current mitt. So first I'll show you how to do the left mitten hole, which I have already done, but I'm going to show you really quick how to do it here as well. It's the same thing as the right, the holes are just placed in a slightly different spot. So after you've chained 3, which counts as our first double crochet, you're going to work 4 more double crochet for a total of 5. So you can see I have 5 double crochet there. So this is 3, 4, and 5. So after you've made 5 double crochet, we're going to make the hole for our thumb. So all you have to do for that is chain 5, and make sure when you're doing the chains that you're not pulling it too tightly, as you don't want the work to pucker or to be too small. So just yarn over and pull through a total of 5 times, so 5 chains. And then you will skip the next 5 stitches of the round below. So go ahead and count 5 stitches, and don't work a single stitch into that. Just insert your hook into that 6th stitch and work 1 double crochet into it. So you've chained 5, skipped 5, and then you've worked 1 double crochet into the very following stitch, and that creates our little thumb hole. And then to finish off the round, you just continue with 1 double crochet in each stitch around, and then join to the top of the chain 3 as normal, and pick up your blue yarn, dropping your tan yarn. So you will have a total of 25 double crochet and then the chain 5 space, and that is how you do the left mitten. And now I'm going to show you guys how to do the right mitten, because that's the one I still haven't done yet. And it is exactly the same, except you're just placing the thumb hole in a different spot. You're going to just be placing it on the opposite side of the mitten. So I'll show you guys how to do that now. So round 9 for the right mitten starts off the same. You should chain 3 and then begin working your double crochet, and you need a total of 19 more double crochet for a total of 20 because the chain 3 counts as one double crochet. So chain 3 and then work 19 more double crochet for a total of 20, and then we will create the thumb hole for the right mitten. Okay, so now I have 20 double crochet, and now we'll be making the thumb hole. So just as you did for the left mitten, you're going to chain 5. So just yarn over and pull through 5 times. And then you will also be skipping 5 stitches from the round below. So count 5, skip all of them, yarn over, and insert your hook into that following stitch, creating a double crochet. And then just finish off the round with 1 double crochet in each stitch. So you should have chained 5, skipped 5, and then work 5 more double crochet, completing the round. And then when you reach the end of the round, just join to the top of the chain 3 as normal with a slip stitch. So go ahead and just drop your tan working yarn and pick up the navy yarn, and then just yarn over and pull through both loops. And that completes round 9. You should have a total of 25 double crochet, and then of course the 5 chains. And then you can go ahead and chain 1 and turn your work. And remember, the chain 1 counts as 1 slip stitch. And then for this round, it's just going to be the same thing as you've been doing. Just when you reach the little chain 5 space, you will be making your stitches into the actual chains. So go ahead and do your double crochet, and then repeat your slip stitch and your double crochet until you reach that chain 5 space. So in that very first chain right there, you'll insert your hook into that chain and work your slip stitch as usual. So just yarn over, pull through, and then in that next chain, insert your hook and work a double crochet. And then in the third, work your slip stitch. And then in the fourth, work your double crochet, and then in the fifth, work your slip stitch. So you're just doing your usual stitches, just working them into the chains now since there is no stitch below. And then after that, just continue with your normal stitching all the way around, double crochet, slip stitch into all the stitches around, and when you reach back to the beginning, just join as usual. Okay, so that completes round 10, and now round 11 is the exact same for both the right and left mittens. I've already joined and turned and chained 3, and so now we will just be working 1 double crochet in each stitch around for a total of 30 double crochet. And then for rounds 12 and 13, just repeat rounds 2 and 3, and then I will meet you back here to show you how to do the top trim. Okay, so I'm just ending round 13, and you can see I've worked my double crochet stitches all the way around, and now we are going to join to the top of the chain 3. So insert your hook, drop your tan yarn, and just pick up your blue yarn, give that tan a little tug. And now this starts off round 14. So we will not be turning our work now, so now we are still facing the same direction. And just chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and since it doesn't count as a stitch, you're going to insert your hook into that very same stitch as the chain 1 and work a half double crochet. So just yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's 1 half double crochet. Again, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So just work 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way around till you reach the beginning. And your stitch count will stay the same. You should end with 30 half double crochet at the end of this round. Okay, so I'm reaching the end of round 14. I have 30 half double crochet, and now I'm going to slip stitch to join to the top of that first half double crochet that we made, and then just yarn over, pull through, and then chain 1, and that does not count as a stitch. And remember, we are not turning anymore. So now we will be working our stitches into the back third loop of the half double crochet stitches from the round below. So you can see we have our front loop, our back loop, and then if you rotate your work, you can see there is a third loop on the very back. That's where we will be inserting our stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into that third loop on the back of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So again, make the half double crochet into that back loop. So you're just working normal half double crochets, but instead of inserting it in through the top of the stitch like normal, you'll just be working it through that little back bump that's located on the back of the stitch. So just do this all the way around for a total of 30 half double crochet. Okay, and this is the end of round 15, and you're just going to slip stitch to the top of the first half double crochet to join. And then you should also still have only 30 half double crochet. Your stitch count stayed the same. And to start off round 16, we will be working 1 slip stitch into the third loop of each stitch around. So after you join, again, you can rotate your work and see the little back third loop bump of the half double crochet, insert your hook, and then just yarn over and pull through both loops. So again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and just do this all the way around. So remember, slightly rotate your work so you can see that little back bump, and just insert your hook and work a slip stitch and do this all the way around for a total of 30 slip stitches through the third loop. Okay, and then when you reach the beginning, you can just go ahead and slip stitch to that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then just tie off your work. So go ahead and cut your yarn, and if you haven't already, you can also cut your tan yarn. And then just pull that tail of yarn all the way through, and that completes the main body of our mitt. You can try it on and see. And if you've made one left and one right, your seam will both be in the same spots going right down the center of your mitten. And now I will show you guys how to create the thumb hole. which is the same exact thing that we just did at the top of our mitt with creating those 3 rounds of half double crochet and slip stitches. We're just going to do the same thing now at the thumb hole. So to begin, you can pick up your blue yarn, create a slip knot, and then insert your hook and pull it tight to secure. And we'll be joining our yarn to the bottom right corner of the thumb hole. So we skipped 5 stitches when we were creating this thumb hole, and that's where we are inserting our hook at the very bottom right corner into that first stitch that we had skipped when we were doing the chain 5 skip 5. So just insert your hook into that stitch, and then you can just yarn over and slip stitch to join. And then go ahead and chain 1, and that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So you can work your first half double crochet into that same stitch that you joined. So work 1 half double crochet and then work 4 more half double crochet along the bottom of the opening. So just work your way across and you should have a total of 5 half double crochet along the bottom. And then you can kind of just rotate your work slightly, and now we will be working our half double crochet up the side of the thumb hole opening, and you can see that side is just the side of a double crochet. So go ahead and work your first stitch and then work a second stitch into the side of that double crochet. I like to do it about so that it's kind of going directly into the double crochet and not around the whole thing, just because then it kind of leaves a little gap if you go around the whole double crochet. So just insert your hook into the actual stitch and do this 3 times up the side. So now you have 5 on the bottom, 3 up the side, and then you can continue rotating your work again. And now we will do 5 half double crochet along the top of the thumb hole. So just work it evenly across. I'm working mine into the bottom of the stitches from that round. So I have 5 on the bottom, 3 up the side, and now I'm working 5 more along the top of the thumb hole. And then when I reach the other side of the thumb hole, I'm just going to work 3 more half double crochet along that. So just working back down the other side, work 3 half double crochet, and you should have a total of 16 half double crochet at the end of this round. And to complete this round, just go ahead and slip stitch to join to the top of that first half double crochet that we made. You won't be turning your work or switching yarn colors. So that's 16 half double crochet. And then just slip stitch to join to complete round 1. And for round 2, go ahead and chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch, just like at the top of your mitten. And then you will be working 1 half double crochet into the 3rd loop of each stitch around. So again, not the front loop, not the back loop, but that little 3rd loop that's located on the back of the half double crochet stitch will be where we are inserting our hook. So you might have to kind of rotate your work a little bit to kind of see the back of it. And then just work your half double crochet. So do this all the way around, 1 half double crochet into the 3rd loop of each stitch around. And when you reach the end of the round, just go ahead and slip stitch to that first half double crochet that you made. So slip stitch to join, and you should still have a total of 16 half double crochet. And for round 3 is the same as the top of the mitten. You're just going to be working 1 slip stitch into the 3rd loop of each half double crochet stitch around. So again, just rotate your work and work a slip stitch all the way around. And when you get back to the beginning, just slip stitch to join, go ahead and cut your yarn and pull through. And that finishes off our mitts. Now all you have to do is weave in your ends. So you can see both my right mitt and my left mitt, the seams are directly down the center of the inside of the mitten, so they're very hard to see where they are, and they don't look too bad. So now just weave in the ends of your mittens. I like to turn mine inside out and weave the tails of yarn through the inside so that it's harder to see. Let me just show you guys a quick example of how to weave in your ends, and you just need to do this for all the tails of your yarn. So go ahead and thread your needle, and then working on the inside of your mitten so that you can't see any mitten or any tails of yarn on the outside. Just kind of thread it in and out of the stitches. It's really not too important how you do it, whatever is comfortable for you. So I just like to go back and forth 2 or 3 times. So you can see I'm weaving it down through the inside of my mitt, and then just pull the needle through. And then just do that again, going back up the other direction just to make sure that it is extra secure. And then go ahead and just cut your yarn and repeat this with all of the tails of yarn that you have on your mitt. And you can see it's hidden nicely. And that is it. I hope you guys loved this pattern. I had so much fun showing it to you. Be sure to subscribe for more free patterns.